Oh, it's a couple hundred years, yeah. Okay, we'll get going. I am recording, so we better launch in. We got several things to go over. So the first I want to get over, and let me get this over here and also get it turned on, I guess. This week you've got a few extra assignments to do. They're not difficult. Well, the Ole and Lena one can get to be a little bit complicated. Let me get the lights off there. So we have in week 6, gosh, it's hard to believe we're already week 6. We're almost halfway home for this semester. And you'll see that I've got a few extra problems, and these are not in Connect. So this is an exception to Connect, or in addition, I should say, to the Connect problems that you will be assigned for that week, okay? And they show up in Word documents. So the first one's called Ole and Lena Own a Home. And what I want you to do here, and you may want to do the chapter work first because it'll give you the tools, probably you listen to the videos and whatnot, it'll give you the tools to take that you'll need to kind of figure this out. So I want you to consider a refinance. This is a very, very common, everyday thing that consumers go through, especially at a time like this when rates are down as low as they've ever been. And somebody's sitting there, they got a 4% loan. Right now, a 15-year mortgage, the banker told me, is 2 5/8, 2.675. Okay. When I was a kid, my parents had a loan that was like 4% or something like that, and I thought, there's no way interest rates will ever get that low again, and they're actually lower now, which is amazing. That's a fixed rate loan for that period of time, just absolutely amazing. Okay, not quite free, but getting pretty darn close. So, okay, so read through it. I tell you about the loan. I give you a few different ways. I kind of describe them here that you can kind of consider this, right? Okay, you do some figuring on. You figure out the payments and whatnot. You figure out what the difference in the payments are going to be. You figure out if the present value of that difference is greater than what the fee is, the cost to refinance. Because when you refinance, there's always a cost. You got to get an appraisal done. You got to get new title insurance. You've got to get several things like that. Usually you pay some discount points, different things. And so there's a cost, and I've got that in there as $5,000. Okay? So you can also calculate it based on looking at the future value, right? Well, what if I took the $5,000 and invested it versus saving that money every month for the next 25 years, okay? Which is going to give me a higher return in the 25 years, okay? The ultimate answer that you're going to come up with here in the 3 ways is going to be the same, okay? Whether they should refinance or whether they shouldn't. You know, it's a 50-50 deal there, I guess you would say. Okay, you'll come up with the same answer with all 3 scenarios. So if you don't, you've done something wrong, right? Okay, so you take a look at these, do some calculations, okay, and see what you think. Do it in Excel, okay, open up Excel, do this in Excel, and then submit your Excel worksheet into the Dropbox. Okay, a little bit different. I know we've gotten used to doing everything in Connect now, but in this case, you'll do this in Excel, and then you'll submit that to the Dropbox that I have set up for that. Okay, if you got some problems, you know what? Thursday's going to be a great day to ask me questions about this. Today too, if you want, if you're a little bit ahead, you're welcome to ask me questions about this. But okay, the other one. Go back. Week 6. Just I got some easy problems. These are all just payments. Okay. I think they're all just payments. Yeah. Should be pretty simple, right? Here's the kicker on this one, or the one to really watch for, is watch for what I have, whether it's a monthly payment or a quarterly payment or an annual payment, okay? Because you have to adjust then the interest rate, okay? I think in every case I've given you like number of months, so you know that that's a monthly payment. So you need to make this interest rate, when you're doing it in Excel, a monthly interest rate, or 6% divided by 12, right? 0.06 divided by 12, okay? This one is months too, I'm sorry. This one's months too, but then you get down here and I've got one with quarterlies. So 6 years with quarterly payments, well, that's 4 payments a year, so you're gonna have 24 payments, so you gotta adjust that first. And then the annual interest rate needs to be adjusted to quarterly, or 4.8 divided by 4, or 0.048 divided by 4 then, right? Okay, so make sure you make those adjustments. You know, there's a 30-year monthly, but here's 25 annual, so you don't have to make any adjustments there, because that's an annual interest rate. 25 years, it's just an annual payment. And then I do one for a student loan, okay? And that's monthly payments then, 10 years, so you got to kind of look at it. I say monthly payments, so you got to calculate the number of payments. It's pretty tough. 10 times 12 is 120, so you got 120 monthly payments. APR 6.5, you got to divide that by 12, okay, to get what the APR is. Yeah, Aaron, question?
Real estate loan number 1, the interest rate says look it up.
Oh, yeah, cool. Good question. So I just kind of told you actually what 15-year term loans are at. Go to a website. You could probably just Google it, but bankrate.com is one, and it'll tell you what 30-year mortgages are going for. There's no wrong answer here, unless you know, if you put 7.9%, that's way too high. I can tell you that's out of the ballpark, right? So, and there's no wrong answer, because different places may have some different rates, but they're probably, you know, I told you what a 15-year was. A 30-year is going to be a little higher. Okay, so they're probably in that range. So if you find something that's pretty close to that, that's what you put down for the interest rate. Okay. Okay, so those are 2 extra assignments that you kind of have for this week. Because of that, you know, the balance sheet that's going to be due for the project 1, we'll put that off till next week, because you guys got a little extra work here. I'm going to show you what we got to do to the balance sheet. Really, everything should be pretty much done in your workbook. There's just a couple changes that you got to make to the balance sheet to make that thing work. Okay. Several people are behind. I'm going to encourage people to get caught up on the project 1 stuff, so you're not falling behind in the class. You need to get those things turned in. So let's take a look. Let me go back. Oh, let's see here. Let's bring this over. So you should have done the payroll, sales forecast. You know, if you've submitted, I didn't have anything in my inbox or my drop boxes today, so I have corrected and given feedback to everybody on anything they have submitted for the project. Okay. When you come to the income statement, again, it's all white, so there shouldn't be any changes that you need to make there. You need to look at it though. Okay. If your income in the first year is minus $247,000, you got a problem, right? Okay. If your income in the second and third years is negative, you got a problem. If you're a little bit negative the first year, and then that resolves in years 2 and 3, that would be pretty normal. Okay. If you're a little bit positive in the first year and it gets a little better in years 2 and 3, that'd be pretty normal too. If you're going backwards in years 2 and 3, that's not what you want to be projecting, so that would be a little abnormal. You know, and you might get a little comment from me about that. Maybe we need to go look at the sales forecast or something. Okay. When we get to the balance sheet, okay, and you guys can do this right now if you've got it here and you got it called up. Okay, and this one I have to blame myself totally. Okay. This cell right here, cell number, what am I in? E12 and F12. And if you had other initial costs, it would be E13 and F13. Okay. go to those cells and just click delete. You might have to go up and hit the unprotect the sheet or whatever because you got white. E12, yep, right here, which is the second year prepaid expenses on the balance sheet. And the third year prepaid expenses. Again, the reason for that, it's kind of my fault because I made you change that amortization period to 1 year. Just because 3 years for startup costs just didn't make sense to me. And so this still is figuring on the balance sheet. It still thinks that you have that for 3 years. Okay, so it doesn't make a change when we change it to 1 year, and it should. Again, it's another thing I should change on this workbook, but I'm supposed to be retired. Okay, you got to go up and go to that review and unprotect the sheet. And you got to put in a code. The code's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, at the very top it says review and then put in the code, yep. If everything else is done right, then you guys should balance. That should have been the difference between balancing and not balancing. If you got a problem there, stick your hand in the air and let me come around and show you, and we'll get it figured out. Not a big deal. I can usually figure it out pretty quickly. Sometimes if somebody's made some changes to some weird cells, it's taken me a while to figure it out, but okay, one more thing quickly. This one's just kind of a little heads up. Don't forget, you've got those extra problems, Ole and Lena, and you still got your Connect problems that you need to do for this week. So get all those there on the checklist. The only other thing, when we get going on project 2, I kind of like to set this up. It's kind of fun. I have the students give me the companies that they've chosen, and just for the heck of it, I input them into this little deal. It's NASDAQ.com, and NASDAQ.com may be a place where you'll end up doing some research, for these particular companies. This was from I think this was from last fall, so a year ago, and these were the companies that class chose, just to give you some ideas. Adobe, Budweiser, or Anheuser-Busch, I should say, Caterpillar, Costco, Disney, Harley-Davidson, I love their ticker symbols, just HOG, Nike, Ritchie Brothers Auctions, interesting, VFC, which is Vanity Fair Corporation, and North Face. I think North Face, they also own Wrangler, I think, and a few other brands like that. So Wynn, which is the casino, and Zoetis, which was it's a veterinary medicine supplier. So anyhow, I think I started with I usually put everybody in about $10,000. I just kind of calculate what it would be to be close to 10,000, as close as I can get. And so I think I had 11 companies there, so it's 110. So we've made $15,000 from last year. So it's kind of fun to follow it during the semester. I always tell people don't take it very seriously in the short term like that because it doesn't really matter. But over time, if you want to see, Adobe's just been tremendous for that time period. Caterpillar's done okay. Costco's done great. Disney and Harley down. Nike's done well. Ritchie Brothers has done extremely well. And Zoetis has done pretty well. Wynn, as you might imagine, is getting beat up pretty bad. So, yeah. So if you're thinking about your company, start thinking about it. Next week for sure, we'll be getting those down. So next week, that'll be a part of your assignment next week. That's a pretty easy assignment, though. Just come up with the company that you think you might want to do a little research on. So, any questions? Okay, I will turn you loose to go to work.